welcome into OutKick the show. I am Clay Travis. I hope all of you are having a fantastic Wednesday wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Encourage you to go subscribe to the OutKick YouTube channel. Also, all of our other shows have individual pages right now. You can search out Hutton and Withrow. You can search out Dockich. You can search out Tommy Lahren and Ricky Cobb. All of them have individual show pages. If you love their shows in totality are going up on those individual pages. So I would encourage you to seek those out. All right, we got a wide range. Sometimes there are serious stories that demand attention. And then also we've got the toy chest of life to talk about, meaning all of college football coming up. All of my gambling picks for week 1 college football are up at OutKick. I shared it from my Twitter account at Clay Travis. You can come find me there, and you can get all 12 of my gambling picks. I promise you I will talk about Texas, Ohio State. I will talk about Alabama, Florida State. I will talk about LSU, Clemson. And I will talk about Notre Dame, Miami, which I believe are the 4 best games of week 1. And I gave gambling picks for all of these. They're up at OutKick right now, and I will talk about that tomorrow with Kelly Stewart. But on the fade. But we begin with awful news that happened earlier today. We just spent a lot of time talking about it on Clay and Buck. An 8-year-old and a 10-year-old are dead in the Minneapolis area after a crazed trans shooter shot these kids while they were inside of church pews. There are additionally 4 other individuals that have had surgery based on the latest reports and are potentially in critical condition. And if you missed this story, here was Fox News, how Fox News covered it, giving you that info a little bit earlier today. It's a tough watch, but I think it's an important one, and I'm going to tell you the real conversation that I think we should be having in the wake of this latest shooting. Play it.
Responded to rush victims to nearby hospitals. 2 young children, ages 8 and 10, were killed where they sat in the pews. Their parents have been notified. 17 other people were injured, 14 of them being children. 2 of those children are in critical condition. The coward who fired these shots ultimately took his own life in the rear of the church. Our hearts are broken for the families who have lost their children. Okay.
Awful story. Prayers are out there to everyone that is dealing. I can't even imagine. And this is brutal for any parent. I've got a 10-year-old. Dropped him off at school this morning. Every time one of these shootings happens, it's hard as a parent not to picture it happening to your family, to your kids, to your grandkids. Okay, let me just say this right off the top. This shooting echoes in many ways the shooting that happened in my hometown of Nashville, Tennessee at the Covenant School, when a crazy, deranged trans person with a connection to the school scouted out the school, was aware that they could get through without too much security there, and preyed upon the entirely innocent children and the people there to teach them and provide safety inside of the school. So let me start with this. And this to me is a no-brainer. I do not say this as a Democrat, Republican, as an independent with any political connection at all. Every school in America should have armed security. Let me repeat that. Every school in America should have armed security. My kids' schools, public and private, both have armed security. Your kids' schools, public, private, whatever it is, should have armed security. This is a no-brainer. I don't know why it isn't standard nationwide. Every single school in America should have armed security there all day while the kids are there. I want it for my kids. I want it for your kids. I want it for everyone's kids. And I don't care how you vote. I don't care what your political leanings are. There should be armed security in every single school in America. And just like with the trans shooter, people who are evil will take advantage of your school not having armed security. We spend money on so many different things that don't matter at all in our public and private schools. This one does. This is what the shooter wrote. Focus on my life. I'm so locked into the plan. This is according to Steven Crowder. Went to school this morning. Bunch of stupid people there. Performative routines. The teachers have been in the basement having their own training. I'm sure they briefly mentioned safety and active shooter training. I'm also sure they will not be expecting an attack during the first week of school. LMAO. This guy is actually mocking the fact that they are preparing for a potential school shooting by doing his own research to determine that there is not adequate security there. Every school in America, without exception, should have armed security, public, private. I want it for my kids. I want it for your kids. I want it for all kids all over the country. Okay? That is point one. Point two, it is way past time for a real conversation about the extent of trans violence that is happening in America. Let me say this, and I'm going to get attacked for this, and I welcome it because it is a conversation we need to have. Almost all people who see themselves as trans have a mental illness. It is not kind to tell people that something that is not true is true to try to make them feel better. Take it outside of the trans world. If you are schizophrenic and you have a family member who is schizophrenic, I have a step brother-in-law who's schizophrenic. It would not be kind of me to say, hey, what you are seeing and what you are experiencing in your head is real when it is not real. If you have a friend or family member that has ever had an eating disorder, it would be malpractice medically if that person walked into a doctor's office, all skin and bones, looking as people with severe eating disorders do, and the doctor said, you look great, you should eat less, what you are doing is the most healthy thing for you. That is what we are doing with people who believe they are trans. We are, out of an abundance of kindness and generosity, treating something that is not true as if it is true. That's wrong, and it has to end. I'm sorry. It is an example, I think, of toxic empathy that has been taken advantage of. Most trans people are in the grips of mental illness. Young people should not have their mental illness affirmed. They should not be allowed to have gender-altering surgery. This is not a difficult decision to me. I have been saying it for a long time. I think that we need major lawsuits from plaintiffs' attorneys against the doctors who have performed these barbaric surgeries. It is not healthy to take young kids and chop off their body parts while telling their parents, if you don't do this, they're going to kill themselves and it will be your fault. This is toxic empathy writ large. So many moms and a lot of dads too have bought into these lies. It's time to stop. And we need to be having a conversation. I think we have a graphic of all of this different acts of trans violence. We need to be having a conversation. Look at all these. It's from Libs of TikTok. We need to be having a real conversation about this. What are these drugs that we're giving these young people actually doing to their mental and physical development? The person in Covenant School, I believe, the girl who identified as a boy, loaded down with drugs for years and years. The person in Minneapolis, at the age of 17, changed his name to that of a female and began to live as a woman. Why are these people getting guns? This person wrote all over the guns. There's up on YouTube. all of these different, I'll read some of them. They're awful, but I do think because a lot of media are not going to talk about this, I think we should talk about it. I always try to not say mass shooters' names because I think they want to be famous. Where is your God written on the clip of the weapon? Kill Donald Trump. Rip and tear. Also, 6 million were not enough, meaning this person was also anti-Semitic. This person was steeped in the language of the far left. And I believe this person was profoundly disturbed. The evidence is quite clear. Kill Trump now. Where is your God? Burn Israel. 6 million was not enough. Real conversations about mental illness and the toxic empathy embraced by huge portions of America that is teaching people who are convinced that they are trans, who are in the grips of a mental illness, that somehow they are actually male or somehow they are actually female when it is not true. Biology is real. And these people are doing significant harm to their bodies, to their mental health, certainly to their physical health, and this needs to be ended. Gender-affirming care should not exist. And I'm going to read my tweets because I want to be as transparent as I possibly can. If you want to come at me over this, come at me over this, because this is a real conversation that we should have. Here is what I tweeted. Most trans people are mentally ill. We should stop pretending the kind thing to do is to treat their mental illness as reality. We should also be investigating how all the drugs they take impact their health and mental stability. No kids should receive trans care at all. Doctors performing these surgeries, especially on kids, should be sued into oblivion as well, bankrupt them. Plaintiff attorneys should be lining up to make this happen. As I showed you earlier from the Libs of TikTok, Minnesota church shooting trans, Republican Party firebombing gender fluid, Nashville shooter trans, Colorado Tesla arsonist trans, Colorado Springs shooter non-binary, Aberdeen shooter trans, Denver school shooter trans, Iowa school shooter trans/gender fluid, AMC stabber trans. Are you starting to see a pattern here? This is Libs of TikTok I'm reading from. It's an epidemic. She's right, and I'm tired of pretending otherwise. Armed security in every school, public and private, should be absolutely occurring. And two, we can no longer treat trans people as if they are not in the grips of severe mental illnesses. It is clear that they are, and we have to stop pretending because we believe it's kind that affirming their gender or affirming their desire for surgery is in any way kind. This should not happen. It is barbaric. Doctors need to learn that this is unacceptable. And if you want to come and attack me over this, bring it. I welcome it because this is a real national conversation we need to have. We have failed. I'll put myself in this category. I have tried to be too kind on this issue, but I'm past the point of defending this in any way anymore. There's too much violence happening. There's too many lives being ruined. There's too many kids being sterilized. This is evil, and this is wrong, period. Okay, that is serious. I know a lot of you come for jokes, and a lot of you come for the toy chest of life when it comes to sports. So I've given you all my opinion on the serious things in life. Now, for the not very serious. Okay, let's start with this. We'll pivot. Secretary Rubio, yesterday in the White House, came down hard against fall weddings. I've been arguing for this for 20 years. I actually, when we did an OutKick pilot years and years ago, I told you there is no way to defend fall weddings. We actually went to a fall wedding and did a whole segment on it. It was a lot of fun. I've been writing and talking about this for a long time. Secretary of State Marco Rubio yesterday during the press conference had some fun. Let's pivot to not very serious. This is what it sounded like.
This thing about people getting married on Saturdays during college football season is a scourge, Mr. President. It's dividing families. And I don't know if we can have an executive order on this. It's insane, but it's really difficult. There's 7 other months of the year that people can get married, so I just wanted to say that because it's very, very difficult. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
All right. Well said. Really funny. Marco Rubio's son plays for the University of Florida. I texted him. I said, hey, hopefully we're going to cross paths some this fall, and that could start soon. All right, let's go into the 4 best games of this weekend in college football. And let me tell you what I think is going to happen and give you a little bit of a breakdown on them. First, big noon game. It's going to be on Fox. You're going to be able to watch it at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, 9 a.m. out on the West Coast. Texas Longhorns going on the road against Ohio State. This is the game of the week. I think Texas is going to get the win. I took Texas plus the points, but I think Texas is going to win outright. I like what the Longhorn defense is going to be able to do in this game. Got a brand new quarterback starting on behalf of Ohio State, Julian Sayin. This feels like almost a perfect recapitulation, a perfect echo, reverberation of the way we started last year's season, which was with Texas going on the road in the Big Ten against a defending national champion. Last year it was Michigan, new quarterback for Michigan. Texas went on the road. Defense dominated. Quinn Ewers had a good game, picked Michigan apart. I don't think that it will be a blowout like that game felt in many ways because I think Ohio State's too good. They'll have a great home field environment. But I think Arch will make a couple of plays with his legs down the stretch, and I believe the Texas defense will be the biggest story coming out of this game against Ohio State. Hook 'em. I got the Longhorns. Covering on the road against Ohio State. By the way, I'm not going to be on Big Noon. I don't know anything about all the drama surrounding who's going to be in the stadium, who's not going to be in the stadium. I will be on the road, as I have been for the last several years, from the SEC campuses. I think I'm allowed in every SEC campus and allowed to cover every game. I think I'm at least tolerated enough by every team out there. I will be at this next game, which is kicking off, I believe, at 3:30 Eastern. I am going to Alabama, Florida State. I think Alabama's going to win. I think Florida State's going to cover in this game. I have never been to Tallahassee. So for those of you out there that are big Florida State fans, let me know what I need to see. I'm going to be down on the Florida Gulf Coast. I'm taking my 14-year-old son. We are driving to this game. He is super excited to see Ty Simpson make his debut as the starting quarterback of Alabama. I give Ty Simpson credit for sitting on the bench for years. Behind Bryce Young first and then Jalen Milroe, battling Jalen Milroe for the starting job. He now has won it. Former 5-star quarterback recruit. I like Ty, and I like Ty's family. So I am rooting for him to play well. Like I said, I think FSU covers the nearly 2-touchdown spread, but I think Alabama gets the win. And this is a huge swing game because if Kalen DeBoer loses, I would not want to be his mailbox in Tuscaloosa. Meanwhile, Mike Norvell last year was such a disaster after the incredible Jordan Travis-led season the year before, undefeated regular season. I think this flabbergasted everybody at FSU. I know they went with DJ Ugalele, whose name I never learned how to pronounce. Maybe they should have gone with Cam Ward, and the outcome would have been drastically different. Instead, they fell apart. They lost to Georgia Tech in Ireland to start the season, never really recovered. I think that they will be much improved in this big game against Alabama, but I like the Tide to win this one late. If Mike Norvell were to win, zero pressure on Mike Norvell. I think every FSU fan expects that they will lose this game. Meanwhile, I think that there is a ton of pressure on Kalen DeBoer. We'll see exactly how this shakes out. Other big games, LSU Clemson. LSU, I believe I am correct, has lost 5 straight games. Week 1, 3 straight under Brian Kelly. Clemson coming back with what honestly looks like it might well have been the right decision made by Dabo Swinney to not go full-on transfer portal, continue to recruit kids, develop them over multiple years. And as a result, Clemson, which zagged when everybody else zigged, is apparently, they made the playoff last year because they were able to get the late win against SMU and advance to the playoff as the ACC champion. A great game there. But Clemson is, it appears, back at the apex of the ACC. I picked Miami to end up winning the ACC this year, but I like the over in this game. And I like the over because, to me, this is 2 really proven high-level quarterbacks returning. I think both offenses will have a great deal of success. Frankly, LSU's defense at times has been what has let Brian Kelly down. It has not shown up sometimes in some of these biggest games. I'm suspect that it's going to suddenly show up on the road in Death Valley at a game of this magnitude. I think you're going to see a very experienced offense from Clemson having a lot of opportunities to score. I think each team goes for 28 or more. To me, the play here in LSU Clemson, with Clemson around a 3.5-point favorite-ish, is to take the over and enjoy both offenses having a field day against the defenses. Finally, Notre Dame. These are my 4 best games, not the only games. I've got 12. We'll be breaking them all down tomorrow. Notre Dame going up against Miami. The Fighting Irish on the road. Marcus Freeman, hired in 2021. I know they lost to Northern Illinois last year, but Notre Dame won a lot of big games. In fact, erased to a large extent that sort of proverbial attack on Notre Dame that has existed for a generation, that whenever they get to the quote-unquote big game, they fall apart and they aren't able to deliver at the level they should. Meanwhile, I think they have erased that. They are a 2.5-point favorite on the road against Miami. And it's interesting because I would argue Miami's defense, that has been by far the biggest issue for Mario Cristobal so far. The defense hasn't been able to get stops when they need to. Last year, Cam Ward was fantastic on the offensive side of the ball, but it was the Miami defense that fell apart. Marcus Freeman's Notre Dame team has been elite on the defensive side of the ball. They have been a ground-and-pound team. I think that Miami, though, is going to be able to get over the proverbial hump, win a signature game against a top-level opponent, and their defense will be much improved. We'll see how Carson Beck does transferring from Georgia to Miami, how well recovered he is from that injury he got in the Georgia-Texas SEC championship game. But I am on the Hurricanes to pull off the upset and get the win over Notre Dame. Okay, that is 4 of the picks that I have for all of you. 8 more up at OutKick. You can find them at Clay Travis. Let me dive in here. I believe we have some questions. Encourage all of you to go and hop in and make sure that you don't miss this. Do we have a read? If we have a read, you guys can put it up. Conservatives need Mamdani to win. Give liberals the world they say they want. This is up there right now. And I would just point out that I don't think this is wrong. I think that's why Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, I think that's why Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, have not endorsed yet Mamdani. He is the Democrat nominee in New York City, and if he wins, he's going to be featured in all of the advertisements as the face of the Democrat Party going in to the big battle to see who's going to control the House of Representatives next year. I think Democrats know that. They don't want a communist to be the front-facing member of their party, which is why party leadership has so far not been willing to endorse him. Clearly, listen to me, Curtis Sliwa, listen to me, Eric Adams, listening to me, Andrew Cuomo. If you all stay in the race, there is no doubt Mamdani is going to win. You guys have to agree to support one opponent. Otherwise, there is no pathway to victory. Mamdani is going to win. 100% disagree with you on flag burning. You burn the American flag on U.S. soil. It should be a felony. Speech is words. I believe in free speech. Speech doesn't necessarily lead to action. Burning is action. Action has consequences. This is not a good argument, okay? I would not burn an American flag. I would not burn any flags out there. Gay pride flag, trans flag, Alabama flag, Tennessee flag. Any flag out there, I would choose not to burn. It is clearly speech, however. And I think rather than say you can't burn the American flag and try to build all of these different exceptions in, I think burning flags should not be a crime no matter what the political speech being made is. I think if you paint the flag on the road and somebody decides to do a donut on it, it shouldn't be considered a hate crime, whether it's the American flag or the trans flag or the LGBTQ plus flag, whatever you want, the rainbow flag. As long as it's your flag in your possession, I think it is clearly a form of speech. I would not do it myself, but I am a free speech absolutist. I wish Trump, in making that discussion, had actually, instead of doing something on the American flag, I wish he had said, executive order, I do not believe it is a hate crime to burn flags. Now, regardless of what the flag represents. So I would have actually made the argument that that includes the trans flag, gay pride flag, and beyond. Now, you cannot take someone else's possession and burn it. That is, if you yank down someone else's flag outside of their house or outside of their business or yank it out of their hand and go burn it, that's not permissive because that then is theft. But if you go down to Amazon.com and you buy a flag and it comes to your house and you want to burn it, just like I think you should be able to burn a jersey, you know how these always go viral? Some guy has a bad game and a fan goes out in his backyard and he says, or a fan signs with the new team and somebody decides to burn the flag or do whatever they do with it, burn the jersey. If it's your property, you have the right to burn it. Wouldn't do it, don't think it makes sense, but I think it's protected speech. Yes, playing in the middle of the SEC in August in the afternoon makes total sense if you want a heat stroke, players or fans. Play at night. Bro, it's not complicated. Some of you are wusses. It can be really hot in September. It can be really hot in August. I have absolutely no issue with playing a game in the heat. They practice in the heat. We live in the heat. If you don't want to go sit in the heat, don't go. Put it on television. Start the season earlier. Maybe do what Major League Baseball does and start the season higher, right? You know how they start the season, they try to play as many games in the South as they can? Maybe that's the time where you decide to try to play more of your games in the upper part of your conference. Missouri tends to be a little bit cooler than Texas A&M. Gainesville tends to be a little bit hotter than Lexington. Maybe let the schools that are further up, the Knoxvilles, the Lexingtons, the Columbia, Missouris of the world, start the season, play more games at night early in the year, which most fans would be in favor of if you start the season earlier. I think it would increase the overall college football audience because people are desperate for college football and football in general to return. And the less you compete with the NFL, the better it is. The earlier you finish the season, the better it is too. To me, it is a no-brainer. You, my friend, are wrong. I love all of you. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. I will be back tomorrow. Double shows. My name is Clay Travis, and this has been OutKick, the show.